Do you have a dream car? Mine is the Lucid Air. Are you intrigued by electric vehicles? The Lucid Air EV has been called the best driving car in the world. And the Lucid Air Sapphire is certifiably the fastest production car in the world. Listen to Lucid Driver Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts or at luciddriver.buzzsprout.com.
Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising books, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, new release, The Joy of Cruising Again, as well as other fun, informative global cruise personalities. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests. If you hear about a cruise that interests you, book it at www.thejoyofacation.com or enter to win a free cruise for two. Again, www.thejoyofacation.com. We really appreciate your feedback, so leave us a text. Paul can't reply, but he may read your text on the air.
Hello, passionate cruisers. This is Paul, and this week on the Joy of Cruising podcast, I am delighted to welcome my friend Emery Gill, aka DJ Gilla. I call him my friend as I first interacted with DJ Gilla on a long cruise, our first transatlantic. It was Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady, where I would find some shade around the pool and chill or groove, depending on what he was spinning. There was a lot of that, as the first 8 days of this long cruise were sea days. We got to cruise with DJ Gilla again on our last cruise, one of the inaugurals for the new and very attractive Princess Cruises Star Princess. We were on the Star Princess along with several hundred other travel agencies like ours, the Joy Vacation by Dream Vacations, as Dream Vacations was holding its annual conference. DJ Gilla DJ'd a couple of private parties, as some of you might have seen a short video of DJ Gilla spinning in the promo that I did for this episode. I am particularly excited for this episode. Besides my love of music, I have tried to bring my listeners a perspective of everyone who works on cruise ships to make your experience great. I have hosted cruise directors, performers, magicians, comedians, captains, and various crew and staff. But in all my 230 or so episodes, I have not brought you the perspective of a headlining DJ, one of the mostly hidden people, so key to making your voyage memorable. Emery Gill, known as DJ Gilla, hails from the Central American country of Belize. He's an open format disc jockey that started out playing for students at his high school some 14 plus years ago, which was where his fan base had originated. DJ Gilla made it to the international stage in 2017 when he was highlighted at the International New Orleans Jazz Festival in Louisiana. In 2019, he became a part of a pro DJ fleet serving numerous cruise lines, allowing him to perform sets for audiences of many different cultures all around the world. DJ Gilla has also performed on Carnival Cruise Line, Celebrity Cruises, and Azamara Cruises, as well as theme cruises, the Groove Cruise and the Temptation Cruise, both in 2023. Key clients and partners have included BPM Supreme, iHeartRadio, and Velican Beer. Among DJ Gilla's significant events and venues, New Orleans Jazz Festival, Farrah Nightclub in Marseille, France, The Vault in Miami, Florida, Club Upper Class in Los Angeles, and Triple Deuces in New York. Welcome, DJ Gilla, to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
Hey, what's up, Paul?
How you doing?
Great, man. I'm in Belize right now.
Great. Well, I know that's home.
Yes, sir.
So you on a break from on ships?
Yeah, I'm on a break from ships. I'm not planning to get back on a ship until like summertime.
Oh, okay. So how you gonna spend your time in Belize? I guess you got a lot of networks and a lot of contacts.
I'm booked every weekend right now until the end of May.
Okay, so you DJing locally?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of local gigs, including nightclubs, destination weddings, and some private events.
Okay, okay. Well, I want to talk about how you spend your time as a DJ. But before we talk about that, tell our listeners about yourselves. I guess I just told them you're from Belize, but where you're from, where you live, background, anything you would like to share.
Well, I mean, y'all already know I'm from Belize. Belize is the only English speaking country in Central America. So every time I say Belize, people feel like I'm a Spanish speaker. I speak Spanish to get around, but it's not the first language. So English is the official language of Belize, and most locals here speak Creole dialect, which is broken English Creole. So it's not the French Creole. It's broken English, similar to what the Jamaicans speak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm from Belize, and this year I think it's either 17 or 18 years now since I became a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
I started DJing when I was in high school back in uh, the early 2000s, and it was just my hobby. I didn't even know it would have became like a career
Mm-hmm.
because
Well, when you started and you considered yourself just a hobbyist, were there a lot of other people DJing? I mean, what influenced you to start?
I mean there were a few young guys who picked up the practice, but they never really put much into it as much as I did. Because I can remember a lot of young DJs started when I started, but you don't see them anymore. There's a few guys that decided to add growth to their career. Some guys just left it as their hobby and they started families and became responsible men in society, and like they decided that, hey, I don't think DJing is the route. So from the people I went to school with, I was one of the last person to start a family. Like I was a single guy for a long time, so it was easier for me to maneuver in the entertainment world.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
So coming from Belize, playing music, it was mostly either Caribbean music mixed with like the Latin stuff and the island vibe stuff, and mixed with most of the classical stuff and the top 40 stuff that is played like globally.
So,
So
so how old were you when you started just playing around with the turntable?
I was at the age of like 14, 15 years old at the time.
And then how old were you when you set your mind to becoming a DJ?
I was probably like around 18, 19 years old
Okay, okay.
when I started like picking up gigs. And I wasn't a bedroom DJ anymore. It's like, all right, I'm outside.
Do you remember your very first gig, paying gig?
Yeah, I can remember my very first paying gig. I was still in my senior year of high school.
Uh-huh.
So technically we should have been out late night. We had curfews and stuff. And I snuck out. I snuck out and I went to the club with some older guys that were DJs. But at that time, I was a full athlete in my high school years. I used to play soccer. That was my thing. I still support soccer teams. See, I got on a jersey right now. My favorite team, Manchester United. So I used to be like this full-time athlete at school. Uh, Never consume anything alcoholic and never smoked anything a day in my life up to this day. Uh, I started, casually drinking as a DJ when I started, like, I would say in my early 20s. So I'm still not a big person on drinking, but, casually, you're a DJ out, nightlife. You have a couple of drinks here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember clearly, I snuck out. I went to this nightclub. I was always a tall dude. So, they probably wouldn't even ask me for my ID if they see me.
So you weren't Were you old enough to get in that nightclub?
Yeah, I was old enough, but
We'll be right back.
The Joy of Vacation by Dream Vacations invites you to join us on a bucket list adventure to Africa. We're going to Kenya and Egypt for 14 days, April 10th through April 24th, 2027. A week in Kenya, including safaris, and a week in Egypt, including the pyramids and a 4-day Nile River cruise. This adventure includes air from the U.S., all transfers, all accommodations, private tours, and many meals. $5,000 to $5,500, depending on air, per person. Double occupancy. Only $250 per person deposit due at booking. The remainder is not due until late 2026. For a detailed itinerary, online brochure, and to book, email me at pthornton, THORNTON, pthornton at dreamvacations.com.
I wasn't drinking. I wasn't like a drinking person, so
Right. But drinking there is 18?
yeah, it's 18 in Belize.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I mean, I would say I grew up with strict parents, but not strict enough to allow us to explore the outside world. Like you've been given the privilege of like you not messing up, you not breaking all your disciplinary issues. So, you get that little privilege to like, go out, hang out with your friends. I was trusted.
Uh-huh.
So
How do you think you did on your first pro gig?
my first pro gig, I felt like I nailed it because the small town where I'm from, a DJ is not usually the headliner of a party all night long. We got a lot of local bands and performers, and
Okay.
it would normally be the band as the headline of the party, and then the DJs, their set would be like the little intermission. The band takes a 30-minute break. That's when the DJ gets on to try to keep people on the dance floor. So I had my little 30 minutes and I nailed it. And everybody was like, yo, DJ Gilla, you killed it just now, my man. You killed it. And at the time, I didn't even select a DJ name. I just know that I was a DJ. But everybody just started calling me DJ Gilla because my dad is the original Gilla. That's his nickname.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they just pinned the name on me. I just went with it, and that's currently my brand.
So then you played some gigs, then you started to play, well, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, that you started to play some gigs in Belize.
Yeah.
And then where was your first gig outside of Belize?
I did at least 6 years locally. And then there's this artist from here in Belize.
Uh-huh.
He goes by Super G. Uh, uh, he's like one of the biggest artists from Belize, and he sings the genre we call punta rock. So that is a local genre here from Belize that started spreading because most of the artists there are from Central America, and he's very big in Mexico. So I started doing tours with him as his official DJ.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first time I started going outside of Belize. That was like 2016, going on 17. In like the summertime, those tours are big. He's an artist. He has so many records.
So he was just a vocalist?
He's a vocalist. He's the lead singer, yeah.
But does he play an instrument or is he just the lead singer?
And no, I'm the person playing his tracks that he performs on.
Okay. So when you traveled with him, it was there also a band or were you just the only
And he would take like a couple instrumentalists, like the guy who plays the drums.
Okay.
Or the ones who shake the maracas, and a group of dancers would travel with him. That was his team.
Okay. And so you went everywhere.
I was just DJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those shows were way bigger than the ones in Belize because Mexico's population is Belize doesn't have anything close to that.
Right, right.
So that was my first taste of outside. And then like 2 years later in 2018, that's when I actually started like doing the ships because Carnival Cruise Line, they had an audition in Belize. They did an entertainment audition for musicians, singers, and DJs. So I was like, maybe I should give it a shot. And coming from a small town, I'm not from Belize City. That's the biggest city in Belize. I had to travel to Belize City at the time to go, attend this audition. And when I got to the hotel where they were having the audition, it was like, you know how the cruise port terminal looks when you're waiting to drop your bags off to get on? You know that crowd that is out there, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the hotel had that type of crowd. And
Were they were there to audition?
yeah, these were all
Wow.
local DJs trying to get a taste of going international.
But not just DJs, right? It's also performers.
Yeah, but it was majority DJs. They had maybe like
Really?
I think like they got maybe about 25 different people who were like vocalists and different uh instrumentalists, people who play instruments and stuff like that. But I would say at least 85% of those people that went there to audition were DJs.
So by this time, weren't you kind of, I'm assuming you were kind of a big name in Belize?
Yeah, a lot of us DJs who were big name in Belize but never went that much big international,
Right.
they were at that audition as well. So like I was surprised, like, damn, these are some of these big name DJs here, and
Uh-huh.
like they're trying to get a shot to leave Belize. So I was like, ain't no way I'm gonna be selected out of this big group. So I went in the room full of confidence. I did what I know what to do.
You killed it.
And it was crazy because they only had like three people from Carnival Cruise Line who was sitting at a table. So it wasn't a crowd. Like you had to impress those three people sitting there. They know what they were looking for. I didn't know exactly what they were looking for. I just did what I know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard a lot of DJs were like going in 5 minutes into the set, they got cut. 10 minutes into the set, they got cut. Some of them, because I believe your time was about supposed to be a 20-minute set.
Right.
So everybody was just going in, coming out, going in. And you had a number. It was a number system. You called your number, you go in, you introduce yourself, and you just got to play. So I did it, and I felt confident while I was doing it. And after the set, they were like, well, if we would offer you a job right now, like when do you want to start? I was like, I could start today if you want.
Get out.
So they chuckled about it and they were like, hey, thanks for coming. We know you're not from here, the city, and blah, blah, blah. And I left. So I was like, I gave it my shot, but I wasn't thinking that I would have been one of the few that were selected. So that was like the Tuesday. I can remember clearly. I was at home the weekend at my parents' house because at the time I still lived with my parents. And we were having a Sunday barbecue. I was on the grill, grilling and all that. And I kept hearing my phone notifications. I was like, I wonder who's adding me to a Facebook chat or like who's
Uh-huh.
chatting to me too much. Like, I don't get that much people sending me messages. So I finished barbecuing. I went back on the porch, just chilling out, and I decided, like, all right, let me check my phone. And I opened my phone up, and I saw it was a group chat. The name of the group chat is Carnival Belize DJs. So I opened the group chat, and it was a lot of messages. So I just typed, like, hey, what's this? Somebody responded, like, hey, this is the new group of the DJs that were selected from the audition last week.
Oh, wow.
And I was just, whoa, like, hey, I made it. I made it. So I started scrolling up and started reading all the messages from the chat. And they were like, oh, everybody, you got to check your emails because they're sending out contract offers and stuff like that today. You got to check to see what's up. So I checked my email and I noticed I was offered a contract. And from the group, I was the first name that they requested to hop on a ship. This was like the ending of September. I can remember. And my contract offer was for November. So I literally only had the ending of September and October to get my stuff together.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, I didn't even know what it felt like to be on a ship. I didn't even know what all documents I needed to be on a ship.
So
I
that's
was just
so you hadn't cruised before.
I've never been on a ship before at that time.
Wow. So you had really double excitement because you had the excitement of being chosen, but then you had the excitement of experiencing, a totally new life on a ship.
Yeah, it was very exciting, Paul. So I
How, how
shared
did
the
you, how did I'm sure you told your family right away. You told everybody was still
yeah,
at the barbecue.
I told them right away it was my family. I was like, hey, I got selected from the audition last week. They want me to fly out in November to join this ship. And I could remember clearly my first very home port was out of South Carolina, it was out of Charleston.
Had you flown?
Yeah, I had
You
to
had
fly from
No,
Belize.
I mean, had you flown before?
Oh yeah, I've flown before.
Okay,
Because
okay,
growing up as a kid, usually in the summertime, like you would go to some family member in the States.
okay, okay.
So, you know, that was the thing. But I've never left Belize like by myself without any family or any parental guidance. It was my first time traveling as an adult by myself.
So talk about that first cruise. What ship and what were your initial impressions? Were you nervous?
I was a bit nervous, but I was excited. Luckily, the very first cruise I went on was a charter cruise.
Oh, okay,
Because I know if you know about the Carolina Country Music Festival that happens every year in Myrtle Beach,
okay.
they had a cruise that year. So it was a country cruise with all these big name country artists and bands and all that stuff was happening on the ship.
So did
So
you have to play country music?
I had to play country music, but I only played 1 hour of country music a day. So when you first sign on the ship, you got all those initial trainings that you got to do for like, safety and all that stuff. So I attended a lot of trainings in the daytime, and then I would just have one set in the nighttime, just 1 hour of country music because they had their DJs and all that on board. So luckily, my first cruise, I never had to dive into just the full swing of it.
Uh-huh. So you had played country in the past, or you just
Oh
became a
yeah,
quick learner?
I've played country in the past, but I never know the depth of country music at the time
Uh-huh.
because a lot of the artists that was on that cruise were like huge country artists from songs that you would play if you know country music.
Right.
And that's why it was exciting for me because I got to meet and I got to see a lot of the artists in real life. I was like, oh, for real.
Now I'm gonna guess, and I could be very wrong, but I'm gonna guess you were probably one of the few uh, uh, people of color or blacks on that ship.
It was surprising. They had a lot of black folks on there.
Passengers.
Yeah, passengers.
Really?
Yeah.
So I would think that those passengers were happy to see you DJing.
The thing is, I wasn't playing in like highlighted areas.
Okay, okay,
It was like just a set in the atrium type stuff.
okay, okay,
I
okay.
wasn't on like the big stages or
So
anything like
they
that.
probably didn't even see you.
If they were walking by, probably yeah. But
Okay,
you
okay,
can differentiate the talent that was brought on board besides me being an employee. Because
okay.
if you work on a ship, you got to wear your name tag and all that stuff. But all these talents that were brought on board because of that specific charter cruise, they're not wearing name tags. So I guess it wasn't really a big deal for any of these people walking by.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Now, because I remember when I first saw you or met you on a cruise ship. Now, I didn't see you, so I was just, I just walked out to the pool deck. It was a Virgin transatlantic, and the music was grooving, and I said, uh, that's a nice DJ. And then I saw then I saw you. I think I came up to you and introduced myself. Uh, so you just can fit in to where you need to fit in.
Yeah, that's what most DJs that call themselves open format is like. You gotta learn and explore a bit of everything. So at least you can satisfy those diverse audience.
Right, right. Well, let me finish asking about your first cruise experience. So it sounds like it was okay. You did no problem with seasickness or anything like that.
I was just about to get through that part. It was really bad the first couple
Oh
days.
man.
Because when I arrived in Charleston, there was a storm in front of Charleston. So leaving South Carolina, heading down south to the Bahamas, yo, it was bad. I'm like holding on to the DJ booth. It was rocking. And I felt so sick. Like the bartenders in the atrium had to like, hey, just drink some of this ginger ale and you gotta take some motion sickness pills. And it was like
Uh-huh.
it was bad. It's
And you were by yourself for the first time. Did you meet anyone?
I mean, at the time, DJs used to still share cabins with somebody else from entertainment.
Uh-huh.
So luckily, yeah, I had a cabin mate who was like a senior on board. Like that he was an activity host or what Carnival would call fun squad host. And like it was like, all right, this is what you do when you're starting to feel bad. Eventually your body is gonna get used to it, but I understand it's their first time on a ship, so it's gonna feel really bad compared to what we're feeling. And he helped me like uh guiding me around the ship. I didn't even know what was the difference between the port side and the starboard side. If I was heading aft, if I was heading forward, I didn't even know where I was. Like it would just take me a long time to find the venue where I was supposed to be. Until like after the first couple cruises, I got used to it. I could have tell what part of the ship I'm at, where I'm headed, and that was my first cruise contract. That was how it was.
Did you say what ship it was?
It was the Carnival Sunshine.
Sunshine. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the ship that was sailing out of Charleston.
Okay.
Now I believe it moved up north to somewhere in Virginia. Yeah, I think that's where it is now because the Charleston folks don't want any home port cruise ships right now.
So did you stay on Sunshine for that first contract, or did you quickly move to another ship?
I stayed on it. I stayed on it until that was the first time I ever did a New Year's Eve party.
Now, when you stayed on it, you only did country on that first cruise, right? The charter.
Yeah, that was like a 4 day charter or a 5 day. And after that, then we got back to the regular schedule. So then it was me actually being the pro DJ and like playing for the big parties and stuff like that.
How did you decide what to play? I mean, when you're not when you're not constrained to like the country?
Oh, well, luckily at that time, Carnival is the only cruise line I've ever worked for that they provide you with a computer and a library.
A computer
So
and
at Carnival, the library of music.
okay.
So Carnival is the only cruise line I've ever worked for, and that's the way how they do it. So when you go to Carnival, if you're the DJ, you don't use your own equipment, you don't use your own computer. They give you a laptop with their music on it, and most of the music is already labeled to certain events, especially those big events that you're playing for, like the cruise director, or you're playing for like a deck party. At that time, their deck party, it was the mega deck party. They had the sail away party. It was like a set playlist. They gave you the songs that you were supposed to play for it. You did a little run through with your cruise director. When should you hit it? When should you bring the next song in? So it was a new challenge for me as a DJ because I've never worked with a cruise director before.
Right.
I just know how to DJ, but I started learning how to work with them, how to be on point, to give them what they want, and then you see the results. So like I was kind of confused at first, like, all right, why should I play this song here? Why should I just stop the song? And then I started to see what it was like. Because remember, I've never been on a ship. I didn't even know who or what was a cruise director. I just heard the name.
Right.
So all that stuff I started learning. I started learning all the different stuff about how the the deck officers are labeled, from like the captain all the way down to like the cadets that are, getting their internship and stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
I found out like, hey, who's the head of entertainment on board? What is the role of the senior fun squad host? What is the role of the cruise director and all that stuff? So that's how I learned the breakdown of how the entertainment staff is set up on most ships for, like, I'd say every different company.
Did you feel constrained at all by being uh, not well, I guess the word is limited to their playlists. I mean, they had good stuff on there, right?
At the time, I actually cheated their system because I have one of these right here, my external hard drive.
Okay.
So I had my personal library on it.
And let me just tell the listeners that because this is an audio podcast, but Gilla is holding up his external hard drive, and that's got your library on there.
Yeah, and my library that I have on there is my library that I built from. I started DJing for the very first time, so I know that library very well.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know the library that Carnival had. I just knew at the time, we can't play any, vulgar music or explicit lyric stuff.
Uh-huh.
So before starting DJing on ships, I used to have my own radio show in the town where I'm from, on a local radio station.
Right.
So I knew what it was like to play clean music. So playing clean music wasn't a hard task for me. But what my very first cruise contract taught me was that everywhere that you go, home port wise, you would have majority of the people from that area. And that's when I started to learn about what different artists or what different bands or group run specific areas. So at that time, sailing out of Charleston,
Mm-hmm.
we had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people from South Carolina and North Carolina. And then the the smaller groups of people would probably come from farther up north, like Virginia, or even all the way up in DC and New York. So majority of the people from North and South Carolina at that time, their favorite artist was the Baby. And that was like requested artist songs every single cruise.
Right.
So I was like, okay. I started learning.
But that wasn't on Carnival's library.
It was, so I could have played it.
Oh, okay.
Because what happened was I just hooked up my hard drive with my library along with Carnival's library on the computer that they gave me to use. So I was comfortable. I was comfy using my stuff along with the stuff that they gave me to use
Okay.
until eventually I started learning the library from their stuff that I didn't even need to use my library.
Were you on your library when you would use some of your stuff? Did you have like mixes, special mixes, or even the carnivals, or was it just straight up the way it was on the radio? You know.
Nah, all of these were single songs, the same way it is on the radio or on any music platform. None of these were like mixes or pre-mixes that you can use.
So on your library, did you have any like special? I don't know what DJs call it. Flair, mixes and voiceover, anything like that.
No, no, I didn't have anything of that sort. I just had basic music that I could have used. But
Okay.
the problem is in my library, I know exactly where whatever song that I needed was located. With the computer that they gave us, if you're not familiarized with how the library is set up, it may take you a longer time to locate a specific track that you want to use, and it might make some type of delay within your set performing because you might have a song running too long and you're trying to find out what is the next song you're going to play with. You just have no idea. So it makes your set sounds like you're just playing random songs.
Right. After that first contract, what was next?
So after the first contract and I came home, that was when the COVID strike started happening. So I just felt like, okay, maybe it's probably going to be for a couple weeks or maybe like a month, and then we'll just go back to service, not knowing that it would last almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was at home for like a year and a half. The summer of 2021, that was when cruising restarted with all those restrictions of, wearing face masks and social distancing, and companies weren't starting off back with their entire fleet. Some just started with 2 or 3 ships, and then they were sailing at like 30 or 40% of the ship's capacity. So while all that was happening, Carnival only restarted with like 4 ships. So, Carnival at that time had about 18 or 19 different ships. So you can just imagine all the DJs that were still at home waiting to get a contract offer to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So when they only restarted with 4 ships, that was a window that was open for a lot of DJs who were just like on a waiting list. Luckily at the time, I had a job back at home. I was working for an insurance company who just opened an office in the town where I'm from, and I was fortunate to be the guy that was running that office. And then a friend of mine who was working for Carnival at the time, he stepped over to Celebrity Cruises, and he sent me a message like, "Hey, I'm at Celebrity now, bro, and they need DJs. If you want to get back to work, I could, set up an interview so that these people can talk to you, and maybe you could come on over here. What does that sound like?" I was like, "Hell yeah. I want to get back. I want to get back to what I know what to do." So he gave me some very important email addresses that I had to send some stuff to, and just introduce myself as from Carnival Cruise Line. I got referred by a friend. This was the person, and luckily I got responded to the same day. It was like, can we set up a Zoom meeting or sometime this week so we can go over like what we have to offer? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we set the meeting up. I went on a call at the time. This guy his name was Bart. He was the guy in charge of Celebrity Cruises, live music and DJs.
Uh-huh.
So I had a talk with him. My friend that referred me, uh, I found out that he was a very good friend of this guy
Oh, wow.
because they used to play on a band together. They're both musicians. And he was like, "Well, I trust my friend enough, and I'm not questioning your talent, but he's not a person who would send somebody to me who's not ready for the gig." And I was like, "Well, I believe I'm good enough for it. So, what's the offer?" We started discussing contract lengths and salary and all that stuff. But at that time, it was a little bit tough to head on over to Celebrity because I could remember I already received an offer from Azamara Cruises at the time. And Azamara Cruises was a part of Royal Caribbean Group at that time.
As was
So
Celebrity.
yes. So when I decided to tell Azamara Cruises that, hey, I won't be available anymore because I'm accepting a contract from Celebrity Cruises, which is the bigger cruise line, the person that was in charge of Azamara didn't want to let me go. So I had to send an email, copying both of them, and then HR had to get involved about my decision, and that's how I went over to Celebrity.
Well, I tell you, Gilla, it's nice to be wanted.
Yeah, I felt good about the decision, and I can remember clearly. I got hired. I got hired from Celebrity in like July or August of that year when the cruising just restarted, and my contract was to start in September. So I left September, and at that time, it was one of the newest ships. I joined the Celebrity Edge.
Oh, wow. Yes, I
So
love
it
that.
was
I
it
love
was
that
it was
class.
it was a brand new ship because at the time they just did the inaugural for the Celebrity Apex. So it was the Edge and the Apex were the newest ships in the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little bit surprising because coming over from Carnival, the demographics is way different.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrity Cruises ain't got the young folks that want to hear hip hop all night in the club. These were mature cruisers, a little bit older. And it was kind of shocking to me because the only cruising I've ever experienced was from Carnival at the time. So I had to make the transition of like starting how learn more how to play the mature type stuff. At that time, coming from Carnival, the oldest music I would ever play was like 70s disco. And that wasn't something I would play every night. So I had to catch on really fast with it.
And Celebrity was truly, or you correct me if I'm wrong, truly open format. Whereas Carnival, they gave you a playlist, right?
Yeah. So at Celebrity, they didn't give you a computer to use. You had to use your own computer with your own library at your discretion. So I started using the stuff that I knew, but at the time, I had to do some deeper research when it comes to, especially those 50s and 60s music that the older folks like. So,
People like me.
yeah. So I had to catch on real quick. And one of the easiest ways to get acquainted to those types of music was allowing people to make song requests. So, like, I learned a lot of new stuff from song requests. Like, all right, hey, make a request. Like, if I don't know it, trust me, I'll do my research and find out about it.
Okay.
So that Celebrity Cruises era was the era where I learned to play for people who were like over 50 and 60 years old. And I'm really grateful for that era. Uh, I did a couple of years at Celebrity, and that's when I decided that, hey, I feel like I can step up to something bigger. So I started looking around again, and I decided to hit up back my contract that I had at Azamara. So at the time, Azamara was already on their own. Somebody bought it over from Royal Caribbean Group, so it wasn't a part of Royal Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
But at the time, I just wanted to do Azamara for their itinerary because they had some amazing itineraries.
Yeah.
And I did 3 short contracts with Azamara because I told them like, hey, I'm not looking for anything full time, so I don't want like a 6-month contract or anything of that sort. And I did the first contract I did with them was like 2 months, and then the the other 2 contracts what I did was like 2 weeks each.
What kind of places did you go? It sounded like you were drawn there because of the itineraries. Well, what did you
Yeah.
experience?
So it had like it had the Mediterranean itinerary, but a lot of the ports were ports that the bigger ships they don't go.
Right.
Like that's when I went to the Amalfi Coast and like Sorrento and all that stuff, with just being docked right in front of those places. Because I know the bigger ships, you got to be all the way in Naples, and then you got to take a ferry to go over there that side. And then we did a lot of late departures and a lot of overnights.
Wow.
In some of the ports, we did like double overnights.
Man, I've been cruising for 30 something years, 38 years, and I've never done an overnight. Never.
For real.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
I used to look out for the overnights
Yeah.
because like the overnights as a DJ, you don't work that much. Like the folks, they want to go out and explore.
Right.
So by the time they get back on the ship, nobody goes to party.
Yeah.
Like I'm just there at the venue, maybe playing for like 10 people before midnight. They're done. They're off to bed. And if I want, I can go out back and explore the port. Because at Azamara, we didn't even have curfew. The crew was so small, they just trusted everybody.
Wow.
So you had a lot of time to just explore. I went to like football matches and all that stuff in Europe.
Uh-huh.
I had an amazing time there. I'm still in contact with them because sometimes they would just randomly send me a contract offer, but unfortunately, the couple contract offers that they gave me previously was like when I'm already on a ship somewhere else.
Right, right. So let
Yes.
me ask you, are there any special challenges or differences DJing on ships versus on land?
It's a huge difference. The juggling style of music is way different. Like, and that is the reason why I don't like to do long contracts. Because the shorter the contract is, it allows me to keep a balance between the two styles. And Belize, you DJing for a party with locals, it's all Caribbean people. So DJing a lot of genres from the Caribbean, one of the biggest differences, you can't play the songs too long. If a song is a duration of 3 minutes, they probably just want to hear 1 minute of that song. You can't be playing it too long. The moment the songs are playing too long, they get bored. That is one of the judgment of DJ skills in the Caribbean. You got to know what to play and how long to play it. While if you're on a cruise ship, the folks want to hear almost the entire song. They don't want you to cut it short. If you switch the songs too quickly, they don't like it. So that's a whole different ball game. I feel like DJing on cruise ships, I get to lay back a little bit.
Right, right.
You got more time to decide what you want to do with the song or what you want to do with the music or how you can switch it up.
What about physically? I've interviewed a lot of singers and dancers and magicians, uh, and they all, particularly women who wear
High
high
heels, yeah.
heels, they all deal have stories about the motion. As a DJ, does that ever get impacted?
As a DJ, I've learned over the years of how to comfort myself in terms of footwear. Footwear is important
Ah,
because I'm not really dancing. I'm not much of a dancer. I know here and there you would dance with guests, but majority of the time you just got to be standing in one place. And most of the sets are maybe an hour long. If it's nightclub, you can go as like 3 hours long without moving from that spot. So the key for me to be able to do it every single night is just having comfy footwear.
uh-huh. But you don't have to deal, you don't have any difficulty with the turntables and all that, don't have any difficulty with motion?
No,
No? Okay.
luckily, we don't have that type of issues.
Okay.
The only issues we can have is some companies they don't like to invest in good DJ equipment. So it makes the job a little bit more challenging to you as a DJ in having to make it work with what's there.
So you only bring your hard drive? That's the only thing
I only bring my computer and my library,
your
which is my
computer
hard
and hard.
drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never take my personal equipment on board when it comes to in terms of DJ controllers or turntables.
Do you get off at all of the ports? Do you have any favorites?
I mean, in every itinerary, I would have a favorite port. When I'm doing the Mediterranean, there are a few ports that I really like per se Barcelona. Uh, if we're farther east, I love Istanbul if we're in Turkey.
Uh-huh.
Uh, if we're doing the Greek Isles, I love both Mykonos and Santorini. If we're doing like the western part of the itinerary, I love Marseille. Marseille is one of my favorite cities in France. I've only done Northern Europe once, so that was like uh, Scotland, North Ireland, Ireland, uh, heading up to like Norway, Sweden. I've only done that route once. If we're in terms of like Alaska, leaving out of Seattle, one of my favorite Alaskan port is Juneau. I love Juneau.
Yes, been there.
If we're in the Caribbean, I love Nassau. I love St. Martin. And if we're doing like farther south, like the ABC Islands, I love Aruba and Bonaire.
What islands or what countries uh touch Belize?
Oh, so western border is Guatemala. The northern border is Mexico.
Okay. Does your family ever cruise with you?
And no, I've never had my family cruise with me before. This year was the first time I had them visit the ship because we stopped in Belize. The Star Princess was Belize was a port of call on every Western Caribbean itinerary.
Oh, okay.
It's difficult sometimes because uh, my partner, she's a teacher. So when school's on, that is the time I'm normally working on a cruise. So it's harder for her to get time off when school is open. But this coming summer, I'm planning to go back to work in the summertime, so she'll be off, and eventually she can cruise with me over the summertime because she'll be out of school.
Now we're Facebook friends, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I recall you have a beautiful little baby, right?
Yeah, he's my junior. He's actually the third because my dad is Emery. I'm Emery. He's Emery.
How old is he?
He's 4 years old.
So I know that's going to be exciting when he gets on his first cruise.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for him.
Yep, yep. Switching from the ocean to the land, what are some of the more notable opportunities to DJ at land venues that you have done?
Oh, so there are some key parties in Belize and outside of Belize that are like stuff that you would always play at. Uh, in terms of in Belize, there are some big parties that happen different times of the year, which I'm always included or a part of if I'm in Belize. One of the upcoming one is like when a little bit over a month from now, the first weekend Easter or that Easter weekend. That is a big thing in Belize. It's huge beach parties. It's like that spring break type of vibe. And I'm gonna be home in Belize this year to be on one of those big parties. It's like a 3 day event. It's not a festival, but it's just like huge beach parties. One of my other favorites is this one that happens in November in the hometown where I'm from. It's called Garifuna Settlement Day. It's actually a national holiday in Belize, and that is on the 19th of November. So from like the 17th leading up to the 19th, it's just big celebrations. And then there's a big parade on the 19th, which is the holiday.
And then I noticed on the intro, you've done New York, L.A.
Yeah,
Uh,
New York and LA is like two spots that I'm always at, besides Miami. Uh, Miami is one of the biggest keepers when it comes to Caribbean events because a lot of people from different islands across the Caribbean, they ending up residing or moving to South Florida. So if you've ever played for a Caribbean party in South Florida, there's a lot of people in attendance. I would say like what, 3 weeks ago, the ending of January, yeah, I went to the NAM show in Los Angeles and I had a gig there the night before returning back to Belize. So I literally just went to LA for the weekend and came back. I just spoke to a gentleman that I met
uh,
in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, and he told me that he's a promoter in New York. And I told him, well, I'm planning to be in New York for Labor Day. So if it's confirmed, he said, hey, just let me know because I'm having a bunch of different events leading up to Labor Day. So he's interested in getting me booked for one of his events if I'm actually in New York.
all right, all right. Well, keep me posted. Let's talk a little bit about the future. What DJ opportunities do you have coming up, either on cruise ships or on land, so that maybe some of my listeners can catch you?
Well, I'm actually in a phase of introducing something to my current brand. I I wouldn't want to be fully open about it as yet because it's not fully confirmed,
Okay, understood.
but I'm in a position where I'm trying to transition from being just a shipboard DJ to being like a supervisor for the fleet DJs of my brand.
Oh wow.
So
Well, good,
I'm
good luck with that. And as things develop, again, keep me posted.
yeah, I've already submitted all the stuff that they requested. So I'm basically just waiting on what they're gonna say about it.
Do you and your partner travel outside of you on cruise ships?
Well, I mean, most of our traveling is either to the US or just locally here in Belize.
Uh-huh.
And over the weekend, we actually got engaged.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
congratulations.
I engaged to her over the weekend. So I went down on the knee and I popped the question. And she said yes.
But congrats, man. Congrats. You were young, but you've been to a lot of great places, particularly, I guess, because of Asamara. Oh, do you have a cruise or travel bucket list? Any place you have to get to before you, like I said, you're young, so
Yes.
your bucket list will evolve over time. But
Yes. I got two places. I got two itineraries that I want to get off my bucket list. I want to do East Asia with like Japan and Singapore.
Uh-huh.
Japan is the main one on my bucket list. I want to go to Tokyo so bad. And of course, an Australian itinerary,
Okay.
sailing out of Sydney
Uh-huh.
and doing like New Zealand and the Gold Coast. Japan itinerary and Australia itinerary. And Princess does both of them. So I need to experience those two itineraries before I could say, all right, it doesn't matter what ship I'm heading to next.
Well, Gilla, before we let you go, we usually ask our guests some light or fun questions. So the first one's an easy one. How do you spend your me time?
All right, my me time is either spent between organizing music or just playing video games. That's if I'm at home. One of my next favorite me time is a long road trip to a gig,
Okay.
just the drive.
Okay.
The drive. I feel like it's very therapeutic, if that's the word.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know, it's just very relaxing. It gives you that time to like just listen to soft music and having the deep thoughts about life.
When you're listening to music in your non-DJ persona, what do you listen to?
So I've been asked this question like 1,000 times. Most of the stuff that I listen to goes by my mood. I mean, some days I wake up, I just want to hear like very soft or very chill music. Some days I listen to South African music, music that I don't even know a word that they're saying, but the vibration is just really relaxing. Some days I get up, I feel like listening to some hardcore rap, all explicit stuff, like I'm a drug dealer or something of that sort. And then some days I would just feel like listening to some Hispanic music. It all changes. It just changes a lot. Like I have a lot of different playlists on my Apple Music. Like when I'm on the ship, one of the times I would change different genres listening to is getting ready to go DJing. Like let's say I have a big deck party coming up. While I'm taking a shower, I got music playing. I just got something added to my playlist. I started listening to some Brazilian music a couple months back.
Okay.
You know, I met some guests on board, and they started introducing me to some different Brazilian artists and the types of music that they listen to there. And some of them are they're very relaxing. Some of them are high energy, and I just added it to the stuff that I know.
Okay. Question two. What's your favorite cruise drink and cruise food?
Cruise drink. I would say one of my favorites so far, one that I've had when I was on Virgin Voyages. It's the it's the fig sour. If you ever if you're ever on a Virgin Voyages cruise, it's at the Dockhouse bar.
Pig sour.
Yeah,
I'm on one next
yeah.
month.
So if you go to the back of the ship where it has those nice big sofas and the chairs that you can relax on, the bar right there at the back of the ship. That's the
The
dock.
Dock House. A
Just
fig
ask for the
sour.
fig sour. Really good. Recently, when I just finished that Princess contract, the inaugural, one of my favorites was the margaritas. I just love the classic margaritas that they had on there. I didn't try anything special like the ones from Spellbound or anything of that sort, but the guys in the dome, they made some very good margaritas.
Yeah, that's where we party with
But
you. Was in the dome.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but if you when you head on that Virgin Voyages cruise, you just ask for the fig sour.
All right, all right.
It's really good.
How about food? What's your favorite cruise food?
Food. Some cruises have some very good pizza. Uh, I like pizza most of the time. It's hard to disappoint me with pizza.
Yeah, I like pizza everywhere.
The very last contract that I did was, you know, the inaugural with on the Star Princess. One of my favorites on there was when they have like the nights where they do the barbecues, and I used to like their barbecue ribs, especially if it's the same night where it's Caribbean night. That is when I would find rice and beans. So it's that barbecue ribs and rice and beans. That's one of my favorites. Some cruise lines that I've worked previously for, we were lucky enough if they would have one of their head cooks or head chef from one of these Caribbean islands, because that is when you would find a lot of Caribbean cuisine.
Oh, yeah.
If you're on a ship whereby you don't have anyone from the Caribbean, I guess it would mostly be European stuff or just Asian stuff, because majority is Filipinos.
Okay. Thinking back to your time on cruise ships, what's your most wonderful or memorable or funniest or even most embarrassing cruise or port experience?
One of my, I wouldn't say, I don't recall if I had, or I would say I had an embarrassing cruise or anything embarrassing happening to me. Not quite. Uh, I would say one of my favorites though was my contract that I did with Celebrity Cruises. I think it was like my second contract with them. I did the Celebrity Reflection, and that was my first time going to Europe. So I went to join the ship in Europe, and at the end of the season, we did the crossing from Barcelona to Fort Lauderdale. That was the best contract I've ever had on the ship. It was a bit difficult because I was the only DJ on board, so I had to be everywhere, and that was every day. But that was where I got to experience my very first dry dock. So we had dry dock for like 2.5 weeks in Marseille. And as the DJ, I didn't have any assignments for dry dock. So it was basically like I was on vacation. Like we would go out every single day, find something.
That's why earlier you said how much you liked Marseille.
Yeah, I was there. I was there for like almost 3 weeks straight. We had a rental vehicle and everything. So I parked the vehicle in the port. It was like I was driving home. That was my
Wow.
home address. And we drove all the way up to Monaco. So being in those places, and like you don't have a all aboard time is really great. Because like, hey, it's midnight, but you don't have to go back to the ship right now. I ain't got no work in the morning. So that was fun. I've explored a lot around Marseille and that coast of France.
Now you can't speak any French, right?
No, Google Translate was my best friend. I mean, most of those places whereby it's like a tourist zone, the French people know how to speak a little bit of English, so it wasn't that difficult.
All right. Last question. I call this an oddball question because it doesn't necessarily have to do with cruising. But I first want to welcome DJ Gilla's friends and fans listening. We hope your fans have enjoyed what they have heard at the Joy Cruising Podcast and will come back for future episodes. So, Gilla, share one thing that my listeners and your fans and friends don't know about DJ Gilla.
One of the fun facts about me is that I know how to fly an airplane. So I started flying in 2015,
Oh, wow. Tell
and
us about that.
it has become something very interesting. I actually plan to complete my commercial pilot license in order for me to work for an airline back home in Belize. That way I can fully be around my family without have to leaving and doing cruise contracts on board for an extended period of time. So that's my main goal and my future plans. If I could get that license, I can be able to be close to my family and still doing something that I love.
Well, that certainly is something that not many of your friends might know about you and have enjoyed learning. DJ Gilla, it has been great talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the Joy of Cruising podcast. All the best to you and in your future endeavors, and good luck on that initiative that you are working on. And as I like to say, we'll see you on the ocean.
See ya.
The Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted, each $16.99 plus shipping, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again for $18.99 can be ordered at the link on thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. For each of the 3 books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. The Joy of Cruising books are also available at Amazon. Order the ebook at Amazon or your favorite online retailer. Stay in touch by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group or following the Joy of Cruising Podcast on Instagram. We're constantly adding new shows. Please leave a review and tell a friend about us. We hope you enjoyed this brief escape to the ocean. See you next week.